Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another exciting video where we talk about multimedia presentations. Today, it's Aladdin. And you might find it interesting that we decided to eat ice cream during the course of this review. Let me assure you, this is very important. Because
just like that beginning of Aladdin.
You come into the beginning of Aladdin, and I might as well just tell you now, I mean, like, if you haven't seen the original Aladdin, there's stuff that we could avoid spoiling for you, but there's really nothing to spoil. Not really. You know the story, you know what's going to happen, so it just comes down to, there's nothing we can spoil, it's just going to be visual differences for the most part. There's other stuff too, but like, yeah. So, the beginning of the movie opens with an ocean!
It's the complete opposite of a desert.
So we thought we would open with the complete opposite of things you would find in the desert too. So yeah, starts with an ocean and boats, and then Will Smith pops onto the screen, acting as the stand-in narrator character, in addition to his other role,
which is
and starts telling these children the story of Aladdin and the lamp, and then I don't know. I guess his version is fine. I was very disappointed to find out that they didn't put back in the phrase where they cut off your ears if they don't like your face. I missed that from the original Aladdin, personally.
I mean, there's reasons for that.
I can't think of any. None at all.
Okay, well, let's move on. I'm not about to teach you the reason why.
So, how does Aladdin compare to its original format? For the most part, it's pretty
bipolar.
Well, I was going to say
it was bipolar for me.
I was going to say that from a story perspective, it was almost identical. There's more stuff added.
Yeah, but
it doesn't really take away anything that was in the original.
But it also doesn't add anything. All the new scenes, because they do have some
two new songs,
new interesting stuff. But
if you don't count reprises, like they do have little bits where they put back in the same music again, similar to other musicals. But there's like two new songs, neither of which I was that thrilled about. Ironically, in an attempt to better round their characters, which I think they did do, I'll be honest, they did take a shot at adding some additional depth to a couple of the characters.
I have things to say about that, but I'll let you have your opinion.
They took a shot at it. I didn't say they did it well. They took a shot at it.
They did something.
I thought, okay, so fudge. I don't know how to express this in a way that it doesn't give away other things in the movie. But who cares?
It doesn't really add. If they've watched Aladdin, I feel like they'll see some of the new content coming.
Jafar got a little bit more. Not enough to turn him into like some kind of cool, sympathetic character or anything, but he got more.
Can I just say something about Jafar's character if we're going to start there?
Sure.
I think making the Sultan actually intelligent instead of this goofy, lovable buffoon nerfs Jafar's character completely. Now you just make him generic person who wants to be the most powerful person.
With mind control.
And then on top of that, Iago doesn't really...
Oh man, what are you talking about? Iago was the best part. There are some differences with that. Gilbert Gottfried obviously wasn't part of that. Unfortunately, all the good parts involving Iago in this movie, if we're moving on to different characters, was fan fiction. Live commentary fan fiction on my part.
Well, that's my problem.
Because I was just doing things for Iago as Gilbert Gottfried.
I'm telling you, between those two characters...
I'm gonna take your beak and shove it so far up your ass!
Between those characters being changed, it totally changes Jafar as a character himself in a worse light. Now he's just a generic...
He definitely felt less menacing. I don't know if that's the actor's fault or not, but he didn't feel as menacing and maniacal, if you will.
I think he always felt menacing and maniacal because Iago was...
Because in the past, Disney hires character actors. Now they're just hiring
actors.
People with names or something. I saw a video about that recently, how Disney has gotten away from using character actors that might actually suit the role and started picking up on celebrity things. This is a thing in animation in general, actually. Not just with Disney. Though, I remember, I don't even remember what this video was about originally, but it was like, ironically, it kind of started with Aladdin, because originally when they cast Robin Williams to be Genie, that was one of his major concerns, was that they were going to market his celebrity status instead of, the movie.
Well, didn't he had a contract with them that they weren't allowed to use his likeness or anything about him, and and in the behind the scenes, they were only allowed to refer to him as the actor who signed on to be Genie. And of course, Disney did not listen to him. And he didn't get paid for some of his voiceover work that was used for like McDonald's commercials. And I believe he was so angered by this that if I could quote him here, he said something along the lines of, "Mickey Mouse only has 3 fingers because he can't pick up a check." So, even in the classical times, Disney was being...
And that's how you get Dan Castellaneti as Genie. They must have made up with him somehow, because he did come back as Genie that one time. Anyway, let's stick on with the new Aladdin.
Well, we've already talked about Jafar, and even though they made the Sultan more intelligent, I still feel like he had screen time.
I wouldn't even say he was more intelligent. We didn't get enough of him to make that determination. He was less of a buffoon. He wasn't childish and odd.
Well, I mean, I guess what I mean by more intelligent is he was
less stupid.
Yeah, I purposely rewatched Prince Ali, the musical portion for the animation.
Yeah.
And he's all like happy-go-lucky, and he's like, oh my god, and he looks really just happy to listen to the music, not really listening to the message. Like, he's not there. Let's be honest.
He was just thrilled to be entertained.
Let's be honest, he wasn't all there. This Sultan actually... he was courting the princess, yeah, but he actually had a reason for it. Alliances, and they talked about alliances, and I don't want us to go to war. At least he had more conversations about what his morals were when it came to policies.
Why does Jafar want to invade the other country? I don't know. It's never really explained. It just kind of sounds like he just wants to fight somebody.
Well, that's my problem with
Jafar is fighting around the world. Hey, he pulled a Russell Crowe, just like you said.
The Russell Crowe comment was made at Will Smith.
I know.
And his singing.
Did you not find it amusing that he sang?
Well, I actually rewatched Robin Williams again. And I might have a bit... I don't know if this is a spicy take or not, but I know that I feel like I'm going to get criticized from what I'm about to say. But Robin Williams couldn't sing either. So...
Yeah, not really. I mean, it's not like he was...
I'm not criticizing his musical acts. In fact, I still find them classic. I still enjoy them. I love them. It's just the man could not sing. And neither can Will Smith. And I think that's fine. Actually, I think Will Smith actually did a really loving tribute to Robin Williams in his and every musical that he had. I think Will Smith did a really good loving tribute to Robin Williams.
Meanwhile, as far as the effects go,
but no.
Luckily, he does not, as we expected. He does not stay blue most of the time.
It's still
actually
a good
no.
portion
I don't
of
know.
The time. No, it's still a good portion of the movie.
It's a surprising amount of time based off of what we thought was going to happen. But I don't know how it actually gets divvied up. But I mean, there's plenty of good scenes where he's not blue.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other characters that got to see some changes. Nothing really changed with Aladdin. His was pretty much blow for blow.
Which really hurts Jasmine's character arc. They try to give Jasmine a character arc with the whole, she wants to be Sultan.
And her hallucinations. Or whatever was happening in that scene. You'll know the one I'm talking about when you get to it.
I have major issues with everything that has to do with Jasmine in this movie.
Explain.
So, this movie, when it comes to Jasmine's storyline, suffers a lot from they're telling me things and not showing me things. Not only that, but they put the cart before the horse in a lot of her songs. She's the one who gets the 2 new songs, or was it a refrain in the song?
No, it was kind of 2 separate songs.
And my problem with it is, so both the songs deal with the same issue of how she doesn't want to remain silent. And they're both triggered from a phrase that Jafar uses with her, which is a woman should be seen, not heard. And
hey, getting modern in the Middle East.
And fine. This is all fine. I think she should have said something back to him. Something witty, something smart. Yet, the movie keeps telling me, she's witty, she's smart, deal with her brain, deal with this. But I'm not seeing that. We're also being told that she should be leader because she knows her people and she loves her people. And yet, she also simultaneously doesn't spend any time in Agrabah and knowingly keeps saying that she doesn't get to see Agrabah. So how does she know her people and love her people if she's never spent time in the city that she so loves?
That is an interesting contradiction.
And that's the problem from what that they hold that thing of sheltered princess true from the original, but they're also trying to change her character to want to be sultan, and they're not giving me a reason to make me feel like she deserves to be sultan. And then her big, powerful princess ballad feels very generic Disney. Everything else, they gave a twist to Bollywood. They gave it that Middle Eastern twist. Hers was generic. It could have been Frozen song, and it wouldn't have mattered. There's no Indian twist in it, and there's also she sings the song before she does her epic, talk. She does the song, and then she does that, which doesn't make any sense because you're not given that build up. The song was supposed to be the build-up. That's not how that works. Those power ballads are meant to be afterwards when we see her triumph in what she wants to do. Moana does that really well. In fact, she talks to her grandmother. I am Moana, and then, she jumps and gets the stone and she goes and defeats, Tafiti. But...
Spoilers!
Okay, for Moana.
I get what you're saying.
But there was nothing like that.
Let me mansplain for you here in recap.
Oh, God, don't.
So, if I understand what you're saying correctly. Mm-hmm. You don't think that Disney did her character service?
At all. And without changing Aladdin's storyline at all, it made it even worse. Because they kept telling her to romance her with her mind. But all he ever did was, I'm going to show you something really pretty.
Show you the world.
Let me show you the world. That's not really adapting to her mind. She was enthralled by his sense of thrill and his sense of danger and his kindness in his heart. Not anything smart he said.
Yeah, the more you talk about it, the more I think that I have to agree with you. Because it definitely feels like, they wanted to keep everything from the same movie. But then they needed to, in our modern age, kind of build up the female character more. Which is fine. There's ways they could do that. But then they do it in a way that completely undermines the part they wanted to keep in the first place.
Yeah, that was my part. My problem is... totally get this female sultan vibe you guys got going.
Sure.
Love the idea. But the execution makes it so that once she finally gets to be sultan, just feel like, why?
What did she do to earn this?
Right, there's no qualities. You can't just... it feels... So, I wanted to mention how this feels pandering. And I know...
It feels like we come up with this word a lot now.
And my problem is...
Do you think she's a woman? Is she a woman?
Batwoman. Back in Endgame, we were talking about how pandering that female pose was in the middle of the battle.
A little bit.
Here's the difference to me of why that is good pandering and this is bad pandering. The female pose, every Avengers movie had a pose.
True.
Which, to be honest, all the poses that they've done in every single Avengers movie are dumb. They would have never happened. Why would you pose in the middle of a battle?
You're not wrong.
So for me, it's like, okay, so what if all the girls happen to be in one spot? All of them have this one moment where everybody poses. That's not why we love the female characters in Marvel. We love the female characters because despite Black Widow's like no superpowers, she still gets out there and fights.
Black Widow's literally dead when that happens.
Well, yes. I'm talking about the female characters and why we love them.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to derail you. It was just too convenient.
Thanks.
It was just like...
I'm not even going to talk about Captain Marvel because we didn't spend enough time with her. But Rescue, which I'm now forgetting her name.
Rescue?
Yeah.
What?
Iron Man's love. You have to help me here.
Oh, Pepper Potts. That's who you're talking about.
Thank you.
I was like, who the heck are you talking about?
Rescue. That's who she is when she's in the armor.
Oh, I had no idea.
But
I didn't know that was a thing.
We've seen
I don't read the comic books.
We've seen her be a badass more than once in all the movies. Like she's actually killed like 2 villains by now.
Doesn't she have like fire at some point? Speaking of continuity problems, where's the fire thing that she was doing? Wasn't that a thing?
They did some sort of surgery. They retconned it out of that same movie.
Oh. I might have forgotten that. Then again, I did forget the entirety of the fact that an Infinity Stone was in Thor: The Dark World. Yeah.
Anyways, Scarlet Witch has a lot of her own moments. Like, every character in that post has had their moment where we're like, ooh, girl power. And
you never really feel that in this movie.
No, that's my problem. There's never a moment of, ooh, girl power. She doesn't shine.
She doesn't do anything.
She doesn't rise to the occasion. There's so many occasions where I felt like, okay, this is the moment. If you're going to say something, say something.
Oh my god. No, not even that. They don't even let her, like, break out and do a cool dance with Aladdin. It's like, that would have been something that would at least make sense. Oh my god. There's
so
this interesting
moments.
party scene that happens, and let's just say a lot of people dance. And then...
she just walks off.
I would have... If they were supporting the narrative you're talking about, I totally, from a narrative perspective, would have expected her to, like, do some kind of weird break dance. She didn't do anything. She's a piece of furniture in this movie. Oh no, they've fallen into their own trap of feminism supporting.
So, that's my problem. This is why it's bad pandering. In the case of Aladdin, a lot of the good way to pander to a female audience when it came to Jasmine was through the plot. And there was nothing in the plot to support her being a female sultan. There was nothing she did. There was nothing she said. There was no moment.
The people who haven't seen her for 20 years love her.
And why?
Okay.
Why? She hasn't been out for 20 years. She's been sheltered. If we saw her escape, like Tia Beanie from Disenchantment, who always escapes to go out into the kingdom and party with the people, I would have, okay, she's been out there. She's purposely escaped even though her father doesn't want her to.
I'm actually, now that you mention it, I'm actually surprised they didn't go that route.
It would have been perfect. We only see her escape one time, which seems so against her character. Why would she only escape one time? Why isn't this a routine, hey, the princess escaped again, let's go find her? And
well, I mean, Jafar does kind of imply that it's happened before, but it's definitely not featured in the plot.
But you can't, again, it's a movie. Audio telling me that she's done it before is like, okay, why can't I see her do it again?
Or, I mean, I don't know. I would have at least liked to see her do more.
Yeah.
While she was out there this one time.
So in trying to develop Jasmine's character, by leaving everyone else the same, it just nerfs the whole plot. And also trying to keep her sheltered while also being the love of everybody and knowing her people. And
yes, I get it. It's inherently contradictory. The audience understands.
I know they understand. That's my biggest problem.
You're not as stupid as the handmaiden. You'll understand that when you watch the movie too.
How about comparisons of the musical numbers? Of the ones that are the same amongst both movies.
Okay, sure. The ones that I thought were added something in a way that made them I'm not going to try to compare the quality of animation versus what we can do with live action, because I think there's just some kind of creative quality that keeps the musical numbers in the original on their own level. Mm-hmm. But that being said, the ones that I thought did very well for what they wanted to do, I think the Prince Ali number went over very well.
I love that one.
Very colorful. Mm-hmm. Lots of stuff going on. Mm-hmm. If there was a good that would be a really good adaptation one that they pulled off. You said that you liked Never Had a Friend Like Me.
Friend Like Me, yeah. I really like that one.
I thought it was all right.
I don't think it added anything, because I went back and rewatched the animated one. I don't think it added anything, but I think that was Will Smith's tribute. And that, I felt, on its own as a tribute, was good. It
reminded me of a Katy Perry music video. I think I'm thinking of Dark Horse right now, actually. I don't know.
I mean, I guess I can see the comparison now that you've mentioned it, but...
No, like how everything was animated through, because like it's a heavily animated sequence. It's just, that's how it is. And again, we come to that same ongoing question with a lot of these adaptations. It's like, they're not even really live-action adaptations.
Not anymore.
The Lion King is not a live-action adaptation. I don't know why we're calling it that.
No, it's literally just a different form of animation.
But, you know, that means, I mean, like, it had its moments. I thought they were cool. I didn't think that there was anything special about the presentation compared to the animated version. Mm-hmm. But sure, it was fine. I'm trying to think if there were any other numbers that I actually liked or was impressed by in any way.
I was disappointed in one. I was disappointed in the most famous one that we would have gotten out of there, and that's the Magic Carpet Ride.
Oh.
Completely disappointed by that.
It felt very underwhelming.
It felt like we were in the middle of a horror movie for me.
Okay. Well, that is an assessment I was not expecting to hear. Do explain.
Because my problem was every other moment in this movie is filled to the brim with color. Okay? We get to the Magic Carpet Ride, and I'm not expecting the same sort of color, but I wasn't expecting all the color to be so muted everything was blue. And like,
I mean,
we didn't get...
It was night.
But it was that in the animation there was still stars out. There were no stars in that sky. There were no clouds.
Well, it was twilight.
There was no sun. There was no moon shining off of the water that made it look
There was no
beautiful.
Sphinx.
There was.
I am so disappointed.
Actually,
that Agrabah can't be properly placed near Egypt.
Actually, I have a problem with that too.
The Sphinx?
And there's a reason for it. I know this is going to sound weird. This movie has a Batman problem.
A Batman problem.
Yes.
That's what we're calling it. A
Batman problem. You remember the last movie in that trilogy of The Dark Knight Rises?
Yes, I know of the movie.
When he escapes from his prison, how the hell does he get all the way to Gotham in like 0.25 seconds? Okay. How does Aladdin get from the ends of the earth on that magic carpet in 5 minutes to be there for the boss fights?
I mean, they didn't really show what they were doing. That's true. Though, I don't know. I wasn't really trying to quantify the time at the time.
For me, that's why they should have shown the Magic Carpet Ride going through parts of Greece and parts of, and seeing the pyramids of Egypt, because it would have qualified the fact that, yeah, the Magic Carpet can actually go pretty fast.
What snow-capped mountains exist near Greece?
What are you talking about? I'm talking about the fact that he's supposedly near the ends of the earth.
Yeah, that's probably like Mount Everest. I don't know what geography class you took, but Greece is the other way.
I'm talking
so
about...
is Egypt. There's nothing between Agrabah and the Himalayas.
I'm talking about the speed of the Magic Carpet, that they have the time in one night to go visit other countries.
I'm not disputing your physics analysis of the Magic Carpet. I'm merely pointing out that they wouldn't have passed Greece or Egypt.
I don't understand what you're arguing about now.
Or are you talking about during the song?
I'm talking about during the song.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm not saying I needed a clip of them coming through Greece and Egypt.
No, I'm talking about during the
song.
I thought you meant you wanted when he was coming back from the ends of the earth.
No.
I was like, why would he do that?
No, as an establishing shot earlier in the movie as a reference back to why can the magic carpet get there that fast. Just in one night, they managed to, travel the ends of the earth and still come back to Agrabah, and he drops her off at her castle.
It definitely feels like a physics plot hole, because you'll notice the carpet was only going as fast as dolphins swim.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe the carpet got an extra bit of mojo in it.
Well, my other problem was there wasn't even fireworks at the end of that, so even the colors we might have seen that would have been bright and like the end of the...
They wanted to make it historically and culturally accurate, Roxstar. They dance in the street. They don't use fireworks. They're not Chinese. Racist.
I mean, they were in China by the end of that, so... in the animation.
You're right. But that was my point. My personal headcanon is that the scene where they get the fireworks in the original Aladdin is simultaneously Mulan. That's my headcanon.
Still would have explained why the magic carpet could have made it from, like, Everest all the way to Agrabah in one night.
Or we could just accept that the movie's weird. I don't know. All right, any other comparison points that we want to touch on? Because, I mean, it's all right. Like, I'm not going to tell you not to go see it. I don't know if you need to go see it right this minute.
I mean...
unless you're taking, like, small children. No, you know what? I don't even know why. There was an unusual number of children for my theater. And I was like, why'd you bring them? Like, I don't think they're going to enjoy this as much as you think they will.
It's not like the original Aladdin at all. It feels like they're trying to be very, like... With the change in Iago, it feels very,
They sucked a little bit of the fun out of it.
Yeah, it feels a little less kid-friendly.
No buffoon Sultan.
No buffoon Sultan.
No wisecracking Iago.
No.
I feel like some of the physical humor was taken out, though I can't put my finger exactly on it.
I mean, the food was still kind of cute, but there wasn't really much of that, and the magic carpet, like...
Well, the genie had no physical humor aspect at all. I don't know if you really think about that.
No. He had, most of his stuff was more verbal.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't feel like a kid's film anymore.
The comparison point I used as far as how the film looks, incidentally, there's a couple things that there's worth mentioning there. I said it reminded me of that show Descendants because of how they move about, how the movie is filmed. Reminds me a lot of that show. Very, what's the word? TV realistic? It doesn't feel... like, when you watch the movie, I don't know how to explain it in any other way. Tonally, it doesn't feel like a movie that would be running in the theater. It feels like something that had a big budget, but was designed for, like, TV.
Oh, like a direct-to-TV movie.
That's kind of how it felt. Like, it reminded me of other types of Disney productions that aren't grade A.
I was actually going to say, you know what it actually feels like? A Bollywood-inspired movie. It feels like Bollywood.
A little bit.
And I'm not just talking about the dancing. I've actually watched Bollywood movies. I enjoy Bollywood movies a lot.
Now that you mention it...
it feels more Bollywood to me.
During the one of the early songs for One Step Ahead...
Yeah, One Step Ahead.
One Step Ahead. There's this weird thing that they do, and I thought it was just me at first, but then I confirmed, no, that really happened. There's a sequence where they don't stop ever singing at the correct pace, but there's a sequence where it goes into basically like slow-mo, and he keeps singing, and it's very... hard for my brain to process that scene.
It's disorienting because he's singing at normal speed, but everything around him is going slower, and you can feel the slowdown. But similar, there's another part in the chase scene with Jasmine where they're talking at normal speed, but everything around them is going like maybe a half step faster. And you can feel it, and it feels very I don't know, mind-boggling trying to...
If anything, I just don't understand why they did that.
Neither do I. I don't understand what artistically they got out of that.
I'm trying to think if there was anything else.
The genie's head whenever they did a close-up for me.
You mentioned that. I didn't see that, but go ahead.
For me, I don't know if anyone else will catch this, but for me, every time they did a close-up, Will Smith's head kind of felt like it was placed on top of a balloon, but it wasn't centered correctly.
I mean, it could be a perspective shot. I don't know.
I mean, it could be, but that's what it looked like to me. There would be times where his face on that genie just didn't look right in the animation. There are other times where I'm perfectly fine with it, but most of the times there was like some disconnect between my eyes and what was going on screen.
So how about things that we can tell them to look out for? Because the thing I want to let you look out for is right after the Prince Ali number, which is, again, a good part for me. Mm-hmm. The exchange in the courtroom. That's something you want to look for.
Oh, yes.
There's added stuff, and it's actually... was that what I said? This is going to be the last good joke in the movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and then you were totally right. And I think, honestly, that is the last good moment Jasmine has. The first and the only.
Oh,
That is the only time she shows any form of, you walk out of that. But it's still very passive. So it doesn't give you that same rise.
I just like her facial expressions.
I was going to say, that's actually one of my favorite ones, too. But I don't know. Because for me...
I think it's weird that they decided to swap out one of the action sequences from the original involving Jafar with that other chase sequence. I feel like I would have preferred this new CGI take with the way it went in the original movie.
Oh,
I'm not going to say what it is. But the chase sequence towards the end of the movie just gave me opportunity to riff the movie.
It feels very pointless because they end up back where they started. Without spoiling too much, they end up right back where they started.
I mean, that's the way a lot of these movies work now. Looking at you, Star Wars.
I do want to say one thing. One of the reasons I really like Will Smith's performance in this movie... Have you ever watched his movie called Hitch?
Yes. Yeah.
If you watch him help Aladdin throughout this whole thing, his facial expressions and the way he's acting is very much like how he acted during Hitch.
Okay, so that's something else we can point out. The interactions between Genie and Aladdin, while lacking in the physical comedy element, I'll give them a little plus for it. Sure, I thought it was interesting the way they were able to interact dialogue-wise. It was something new. It was something a little extra added onto the character. My
only problem with it is, despite the fact of how much I like their interactions, the end where he finally frees Genie doesn't feel as impactful as it did in the movie.
Oh, no.
There's just something... I don't know if maybe one of the deleted scenes that they had between them was cut, or maybe it was a physical comedy, or that... Will Smith didn't portray the character as well as... Because Will Smith really portrayed this character for me like the Hitch character. So it didn't really feel like a Genie character. It felt more like Hitch, which is fine because I like that movie and he's a funny guy in that movie. But it's not the same dynamic as a Genie and, a friend.
So, if you were going to put a number on it, how much did you enjoy this if you were going to give it out of 4 stars?
Oh, out of 4 stars?
Out of 4 stars.
Okay, so I'm about to rate this pretty low. I'll be honest with you. And I'll tell you why. Because I only liked 50% of the movie, so they only get 50% of my rating, which would be 2.5. I only literally liked half of this movie.
That's more than 50%.
2. Get to 2. Are you happy now?
If that was what you planned to do,
yes.
50%.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
I was going to give him a half point for something else, but 50%.
Okay.
Jerk.
I will rate it a 2.5, which is more than 50%.
You asshole. You about to rate it the same
No.
thing.
I will even justify my decision. We walked in there. You heard me say this.
Mm-hmm.
I already have such low expectations. It's got to be something approaching kind of good. And you know what? There were parts of it that were fun. There really were.
Yeah, there were.
If you're at a theater that it costs less than $10 to see the movie, it will be worth your time.
Yeah, I would go see this cheaply if you could.
See it cheaply or wait for it to come out on DVD.
Yeah.
For most of you, this is honestly a wait for it to come out on DVD kind of thing. Or for those of you in the future, on digital download because there's no such thing as physical media anymore. With that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for spending this time with us, and we'll see you again very soon for another video here on the channel. Night.
Good night.